Get going here.
Oh.
All right. Good night. Good night. Good evening.
Shortest class ever.
It was great to have you here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me.
You bet. Kara, you were awesome. Thank you. Dude. So it is Thursday Night Live, but I'm going to start with a confession. All week, I've been completely messed up on what day of the week it is. And honestly, today felt like Friday to me, so I am clearly mixed up. It's a bad deal.
It's okay.
But we made it, and it's Thursday Night
Yes.
Live. And we are, can I grab this book? We're super excited tonight because our topic is going to be all about the Master Cleanse. And this just goes along really, really nicely with the whole Young Living lifestyle because we're all on this journey. And this is what we always talk about, that everybody is in a certain mile marker on the journey. And we don't care where you are, but our interest is that maybe we can help move you from mile 1 to mile 2. And if you're already on like mile 26, well, then we want to get you to mile 30, okay? Just had to throw a marathon figure there. Yeah. So, anyway, so tonight is not so much maybe dense information about Young Living products specifically, but because we care about this entire wellness journey, a few of us here have found recently that this really does play kind of a big role in helping reset our bodies so that our bodies can do what they were designed to do, which is pretty awesome. So I have 2 guests to introduce tonight. One of them is my husband, Brian.
Hi, everybody.
Because he also just completed a successful 14-day stint of the
That's
Master
amazing.
Cleanse, which is pretty awesome. I was proud of it.
Yeah.
Longer than I did.
Was this y'all's first time to do it?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. How about you?
Yeah, it was mine.
Yours? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So our other guest is the one and only Kara Lee Stewart. And I'm so bad this week, Kara Lee. I didn't even ask you for a bio or any information. So would you do us the honor? Would you just introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and all that good stuff.
All that stuff. Okay. So I am Kara Lee Stewart, and I live in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I do not live at McDonald's, but I'm here tonight because I was over at Bible Study Fellowship tonight, and actually I had to leave a little early.
Oh.
And I know, but that's okay. I had to go make sure I could get connected over here, okay, because my phone has been a little bit sketchy. No problem. So anyway, I have 6 kiddos, and I homeschool. And as far as Young Living goes, I've been a member for 4 years, and it has totally just rocked our worlds in every way, just from all the amazing things that these oils can do to completely supporting above and beyond our business or our family. And so both my husband and I are at home, and so that's a blessing for the most part. Still working through some of that stuff, but yeah, which is part of the reason, we could segue right into the cleanse there.
I love it. So, oh, that's fantastic. One of the things I can promise all of you that are on live with us tonight is that one of Kara Lee's most endearing qualities in my mind is her keen sense of humor. And when I mentioned that, she immediately said, "Skyla, I'm way more funny in print than I am in person."
It's true.
Keep your eyes on
it's
the chat
so true,
box, folks. That's all. No, it's all good. It will be great. So tonight, I do want you to feel free, everybody that's watching, feel free to ask questions in the chat box if you have some, and I'll kind of keep an eye on that. If anybody in this group has ever done the Master Cleanse, I also want to know that, because if we've got some pros in the room, you got to fess up. So basically, we're going to kind of have a roundtable discussion here because each of us have had a unique experience. And so I've got our evening divided up into 4 topics or 4 questions. And of course, we won't stick with that. We'll go on tangents, I'm sure. But that's kind of our framework. So the first question that I want to throw out is, what was it that made you want to do the Master Cleanse? Okay. And,
All right.
and we're gonna jump in. After this, we're going to talk a little bit more about what it is as we talk about how we prepped for it and what we executed to do it. But what even made you interested in the Master Cleanse? Carolee, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. So, I don't know. Are you under Sarah Johnson?
No.
Okay, so you're
Sonia Swan.
okay. All right. So Sarah Johnson is a Royal Crown Diamond, and she's in our upline. She's way up in our upline, and she posted. She's the first person that I ever saw post about Master Cleanse, and so that was about 1.5 years ago. And I just remember tucking those pictures that she posted of her lemons and then the different things that she was doing. She just was talking about just how it just made her feel really good, and just emotionally what it was doing. And so it was just little snippets here and there, and then somebody else. I knew that God was calling me to at some point, but I didn't know when, and I wasn't ready yet, because it wasn't like I was ready to just really dig into that. I have never cleansed before. Like, the gallbladder cleanse is supposedly a fairly easy cleanse to do, and most all of my family members have done it, and I still have not done it because it's kind of scary. But I also was pregnant or nursing for a very long time, like a total of 12 years. And so I didn't really want to do anything during that time either. So, so fast forward to this year. This year, at the beginning of the year, I started working out for the first time since high school. And that was like 20 years ago. I know. I played high school. I was really active, or I played tennis in high school. I was real active. But as far as exercise, it was like I would try to go out and walk, and my legs would itch so bad from from that whatever. If any of you guys have ever done that and your legs just itch like you just want to go rub yourself up against a tree for a few minutes, and anyway, so I just gave up on that after once or twice. And so I joined a boot camp community here in my town, and and stuck with it, which is amazing for me that I just I don't stick with stuff a whole lot. But the community, if there's community involved, I stick with it because I get real loyal to those people, and they just become friends. And so I've been doing that. Well, I lost some weight before, but then we went on some trips with Young Living, the cruise, and then we went to Australia, which is where really I fell in love with Skyla. I think that's the first time we met in person. We knew each other through some groups before that, but so anyway, from those trips, my healthy eating it just derailed everything. And over the summer, I ended up just gaining everything back, and I started just feeling really bad, and my marriage was struggling in a lot of different ways, and there was just a lot going on emotionally. And so fast forward to Labor Day. Labor Day was a hard day. I mean, it was family, and it was rough in our marriage. And so that next morning I just woke up, and we ate like typical Labor Day food. Not good. And I ate a lot of it that day. And so that next day I woke up, and I was just so miserable, just feeling bad. I knew that something just wasn't, I was still exercising 5 or 6 times a week, and I was still gaining. So I knew something wasn't right inside, but emotionally I knew everything was just off kilter. And I think what it boiled down to is that I felt out of control in so many different areas of my life. And I felt like this was one thing that I could do that would kind of give me a grasp of control in some way. And so really I dedicated it. It was kind of like just a dedicated fast to the Lord, even though it wasn't just water. It was a more sustainable fast. And in my mind, I was thinking I was going to go at least 12, 14 days because with the Master Cleanse, that he recommends not going any less than 10 days. And so I was thinking, 12, 14 days. And so I literally got up that morning, went to Kroger, got my lemons, and there's a whole ease-in process that you're supposed to do, but I didn't get the book until I was about a week into it. And that's just kind of what I do a lot of times. I'll just jump in and then learn the stuff later. So anyway, the ease-in I'm sure would have made it easier for me, but it was what it was, and it was just an amazing process. I'm still reaping the benefits, but we're not there yet, right?
Yeah.
That's another question.
Hold that thought. Right.
All right.
That's perfect. That is perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go next just because chronologically I did the fast first and then Brian jumped on board. So for me, I had heard about people doing this fast in my upline as well. So it wasn't Sarah Johnson, but for me it was my upline, Sonia Swan, and her sister, Evangeline Reed. They had both done it. And honestly, Sonia has done it periodically through the year for several years. And for those of you that know Sonia, she's so tiny, right? And I always just remember thinking, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And it just seemed so, like I was giving her the, the rant, like, you don't need, this isn't healthy. This doesn't look right, whatever. And it just seemed so extreme to me, which the ironic thing is that that's the same look and the same attitude I got from a lot of people as I was doing it. Like, this can't be good for you. What have you gotten into?
I got accused of like being like tending towards anorexia. Yeah. I was like, you've never ever seen me eat consume food. I love food too much. I could never be.
Exactly. Food and I we have a good relationship most of the time. So
yes.
So they were certainly in the back of my mind. Like you, I had seen pictures. I had seen Sonia carry her carafe of lemonade mix. But then honestly, I just loved meeting Carolee when we were in Australia. I could tell you guys stories about that trip that would just crack you up. In fact, I was thinking about finding that video of you in the sand. Yes. Anyway.
That was so fun.
That was amazing. So when I saw what Carolee was doing, I thought, okay, this is ridiculously inspiring, and doggone it, if she can do it, I can do this. And much like yourself, I went and bought the lemons. Actually, we bought the lemons together on a trip to Costco, and I think they pretty much sat on our counter for about, 5 days maybe? Would you say? Something like that. And Brian, I know, was thinking like, why did we buy 10 pounds of lemons if you're just going to let them sit here and rot? And so I just woke up one morning and my mindset was correct. And I just said, this is it. We're going to do this. And so also, like, didn't have a book yet. I looked up on YouTube what needed to happen. I was Googling, asking people that had done it. I think I got into your group, Carolee, your Facebook group set up, and I was talking to some other friends, and I'm like, well, we can figure this out. And then I ordered the book. So I'm kind of reading along, day 4, day 5. I still probably haven't read every word in the book, but now Brian has, so I have my resource desk here.
That's good.
But I knew that I needed to reset my system. I could feel it. I knew that there were things that just didn't feel right, and most importantly for me, I didn't feel like I was in control. And not that I'm a control freak, but I like to know that I can make healthy choices and be logical about things, and it was just too impulsive. So I needed to kind of just rein it back in. So that was kind of my motivating factor, but it was pretty sudden when I finally decided to start. But I'm an all or nothing kind of person, so that
Amen.
So Brian, how about you?
Okay. Well, for me, I'd heard different guys in the EEC group talking about it. Some of them were doing it, but then when I was at Gary's Iron Will men's camp, Dr. Venker was there speaking, Gary was there speaking, and one of my big takeaways was that, everything starts with the gut. And I just thought, okay, well, maybe I needed a reset or something like that to just fully experience, what the Young Living products could do, the supplements and things like that. But then, you know, nothing was really pushing me to do it, obviously, because that was several months ago. But then Skyla started doing it, and, you know, it seemed like it was so natural for her, and it looked like she was actually, you know, seeing some changes happening, you know, for the positive. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I want to try this. And, you know, I tried some of her lemonades, like, oh, hey, this tastes pretty good, you know. and so it was just kind of a natural evolution. I started it for a couple days, and then went down to Texas for a week or so, and so obviously didn't do it there. But then as soon as I got back, I thought, okay, I just want to start it. And so I did. And then I think we got the book maybe a few days after I'd started it. And so then I started reading it maybe around day 8 or 9. And it took me about 3 or 4 days to read through it. And I thought, oh, well, I'm doing a lot of things wrong. So then I thought, well, I can't just stop at 10. I have to keep going, because now I know how to do it. But so that's my story.
And that was really telling too, because even at day 9 or 10, when you kind of switched things, he started getting different results instantaneously. So the bonus of you guys joining us for this is that we're going to help you start right, so that you don't invest 10 days and not get the results that you're expecting. Because I was pretty amazed. There's a lot of little fine things, fine details that you can tweak, like how you juice the lemons, and whether it's organic or not, and that sort of thing. And we've learned a lot along the way. So we're excited to share that with you. So, Carolee, anything else you want to add in that section?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just the whole, it's funny that we all started the thing and then got the book after, because we definitely can teach from our mistakes.
That's right.
So.
Totally. So Charla asked one question, Carolee, is your Facebook group open to anybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
yep.
maybe
and it's a closed group, so you can just post a link and anybody can join it.
Perfect. So we'll put.
And it's not that it's that active or that informative. It's just, I'm just sharing a unabridged version of my why and why I got into it, and just some personal stories and just some how-tos. So, and then as a group, we're going to do it together. I had originally thought the beginning of the first 10 days of December, but I'm thinking I might move that to January, just because that seems to be a better restart.
Okay.
For a lot of people. So anyway, anybody's welcome to join us.
Awesome. And I also know one of my golds, Sherry Stevens, that some of you know, she has also started a Facebook group. She did a very successful 10-day run. And so that is available as a resource also. So the second question might be a fairly short one now that you all know how we got started. But were there any preparation steps that you took before you got started, or anything kind of mentally or even supply wise that you needed to get to feel ready for this?
Thankfully, I had everything. I mean, I literally went to Kroger and started, but I already had the little juice. I mean, some people have said to get the little electronic juicer thingy, or you can use a regular juicer, but that's way too many dishes for me. So I just got that little lemon squeezer thingy, and that's literally what I did the whole time. I don't know what you guys did, but it worked. That worked for me. And then as far as mental preparation, I was in such a desperate place that oh no,
it's okay. It's like a bowl in a china shop. We don't normally have this chair here, so why don't you? I'm going to have to repaint after tonight in my office. I'm just saying. It's kind of crazy. But that's all my fault, because I told him to run upstairs and get the juicer that he bought.
Oh, good. Yeah. I want to see it.
Well, we were
just mentally, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, just mentally, because I was in such a desperate spot, I just knew that I knew I had to do it. I knew that I was going to be cooking for my kiddos the entire time, 3 meals a day, and it was just something that I just decided, this is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have a good attitude about it. So I think your mental game going into it is super, super important.
So one thing that's different about how I started and how Carolee started, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. And so in order for me to embark on this journey, I had to tell myself one day at a time. And if I don't die the first day, we'll see about doing it on day 2. Because when I started and I looked at 10 days without food, I was like, oh, no, that seems crazy. So I literally just kind of gave myself the grace to go day by day. But what I found for me was that I felt better every day. And so then I didn't want to quit because I was feeling so energized and like breathing, super deep and super clear. And my brain was, had no more fog and that kind of thing. And I'm like, well, this is awesome. So, but just mentally, I couldn't start it thinking, looking at that calendar 10 days out, that just seemed like it may as well be forever.
Yeah.
So what about preparation for you? I know I had just kind of ended it. So.
Yeah, I just jumped in. I think I was trying to figure out like what day to start. And I thought, well, okay, I wanted to kind of get through the weekend because I don't know, that's just kind of an awkward time to start, I guess. So I thought, okay, I can start Monday, the kids go back to school, and then, it's a little bit easier to make some meals for myself then. So I just started on a Monday.
Perfect. All right. So let's talk, before we go into the third question, let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of what this cleanse looks like. Our third question is kind of what did a day in the life of the cleanse look like? So to get started, if you do it by the book, there is sort of a recommended ease-in process. And I would say, we're all on our own place on the journey. So I don't know what your daily intake for food and beverage looks like, but we don't drink soda here. We don't really drink coffee. And so there weren't a lot of, I'll say, addictive foods that we had to worry about coming off of. We don't eat a perfect diet by any means, but we do like a lot of whole foods, a lot of fruits and vegetables and that kind of thing. So it wasn't as extreme, I don't think, maybe for us as it might be for some.
Right.
But if you have foods that are true vices, you might want to start just gently letting those go for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days before you begin so that your body isn't in a state of shock.
Yes. I agree with that, especially if you're a coffee drinker, if you depend on that caffeine.
Yeah.
Sugar is a big thing. Coming off of sugar is because it kind of has it does the same chemical stuff in your brain that heroin and drugs do. And so it's literally like withdrawals.
Yeah. That's actually, that fact has helped me to let go of a lot of sugar. If I just tell myself when I eat something, I'm doing a drug. Like it's telling my brain the same thing as doing drugs. And I would never do drugs. I would never do that to my body.
Right.
But if you associate those together, all of a sudden it becomes this really nasty substance that you're putting into your mouth. So
yes.
Anyway, okay, so let's talk about kind of the nuts and bolts. You've heard us talk about lemons. So if you have access to organic lemons, that's best. But I know at different times during the year, and certainly depending on where you live, sometimes organic lemons are really hard to find. So get what you can. The Thieves Fruit and Veggie Wash is our best friend. So, you can clean a whole bunch of that junk with that. You're going to need organic cayenne pepper. And you're going to need the darkest grade A maple syrup that you can find. So think really high quality, the darker the better. And I think in the book, if I'm not mistaken, it suggests grade B, right? But grade B is almost non-existent for most people, depending on where you live. And so even some of the jars that Brian bought, I think, was that at Trader Joe's?
I think it was Fresh Time.
Or Fresh Time, one of our health food stores, but it said like formerly grade B, now grade A.
Yeah.
There's
amber.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's dark. And I think it's what everybody's saying is just get the darkest possible.
Yeah. So just look at it. If it's organic, that's awesome. I love
Make sure the only thing on the ingredient is maple syrup.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any sugar or any other additives or anything like that.
If your bottle is
no Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if your bottle is in the shape of Aunt Jemima, don't do it. Or Mrs. Butterworth, whatever, you put her back. No matter what she tells you about how dark she is, just put her back.
That's right.
So,
the Cracker Barrel maple syrup is not real maple syrup either. It's not.
But the price is right.
Yeah.
Okay, so really, believe it or not, those are your three main ingredients. So the lemons, the cayenne pepper, and the maple syrup. And then you're also going to need sea salt. And you're going to need Smooth Move tea, or I threw in some Comfort Tone periodically. Basically at night before you go to bed, you want to take some sort of an herbal laxative that's just going to help everything in your bowels loosen up and let go. And this is kind of a recurring process every night so that when you wake up, you're moving, and that's the whole point. So those are really the only 5 things.
Peppermint tea.
Oh, peppermint tea. That was another one. We did some organic. Yeah. If you just need to mix up the flavors, and that can kind of help soothe your stomach a little bit. Was there anything else for you, Carolee?
Well, it's real important to have a very good quality water.
Yes.
So
agreed. Get your Berkeys. Yeah, whatever it is that you need to do to get excellent water. I agree. And that goes for all the time, not just when you're doing the master cleanse.
Right. Yes.
In the ideal world, you want...
got your hydrogizer.
Oh, yeah. Brian did some hydrogized water.
Ooh.
Kind of perk things up a little bit. So
nice.
Very good. Okay, so who wants to start? You want to go backwards?
Sure.
Give us a rundown of a typical day. You wake up, what do you do?
Okay, so on days like 1, 4, and 7, so about every 3rd or 4th day, they kind of recommend first thing in the morning doing like the salt bath thing. So you take the sea salt, mix it with some warm water, and I believe it's 2 teaspoons of salt. And you may want to spread that across about 4 glasses of water. I think when I didn't know any better, I was trying to do it in like 1 glass all in one shot. And I think I was about ready to hurl after that. But so, you know, and just some warm water there. And so after you've done that, you know, then you can, you know, after you've had a bowel movement, you can drink some lemonade. And they usually recommend...
Yeah, let's just clarify. It's not a bowel movement. I mean, let's be honest and real here if we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Especially the first time.
Right? So that would be another good reason to start your cleanse on a day when you can be home.
Yeah.
And
and by first time, I meant first day.
The
first time you do the saltwater flush is definitely the longest.
Like you'll want to
set aside a couple of hours before you need to leave.
It's just so fascinating, though. Oh my gosh,
it is.
What is that?
I did it for 27 days, you guys, and
okay. Tell me.
I'm at McDonald's. I don't want to gross people out.
Just kidding.
But I was still having bowel movements. Like, not anything significant, but I can't believe stuff was still coming out.
Yeah.
After not eating. So one story about that. Sorry, I've got people laughing over here.
You're going to enroll somebody out of this, Carolee. That's all I can tell you.
She's leaving. I think it's bad. Anyway, sorry, McDonald's. Anyway, so I read a story somewhere in one of the groups that this man did this cleanse for like 100 days. Well, he was doing it longer than that, but in his 100 days or past it, he actually passed a small crayon. This is a grown man that he must have swallowed as a child, but just got lodged in there.
That's absolutely insane. Jennifer's freaking out. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You guys, we're looking for stories like that in this group. So somebody
pass the crayons.
We want photos and tag us. Jim, you're the man for this job. I can tell.
I'm surprised at what comes out. In the book, he has some stories of things, but talking about parasites. That, people after I think for him it was like day 90 or something, but it sounded like a decent sized parasite. That
There's a chapter in that book that will haunt y'all for the rest of your life. You guys, we have people leaving this meeting. I'm seeing notifications of people bailing on us. We might be TMI here.
Oh, okay, Mindy, good question. For those of you that work outside the home, what number day would you consider safe to go to work? I would say just start it on Saturday. And
I agree.
And you give yourself 24 hours. Really, you're going to be okay. For sure, 48. You'll be okay by Monday morning to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still give yourself an extra hour for those saltwater flush mornings, just to make sure.
Because yeah.
And you know what? He actually recommends in the book to do it every morning. I didn't do that.
I did.
Did you?
He was talking about like the laxative tea on like every morning that you're not doing the salt water.
Okay.
And so after I read the book, I started actually doing that.
Right. So this is one of the things I did wrong. I did the salt water, totally following a lady on YouTube. I did the salt water every morning, which I think just kind of ramped up the effect. So
yeah. I don't think that's wrong though. I mean, I think that there are a lot of people that come from the place that you should do it every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can.
But yeah.
So I just put like a teaspoon of sea salt in a plastic water bottle, and I did it before I went to bed. And so it dissolved. I had it right beside my bed, or I had it on the kitchen counter so that as soon as I woke up, I would just chug that as fast as I could. And then I would immediately refill the bottle just with straight water, drink that, and then that was done.
So my approach was a little different.
Okay.
I did 2 teaspoons in a quart, and I heated the water up because somebody somewhere said that it reminded them of drinking broth. And I was like, oh, I love broth. So in my brain, I was drinking broth, and I could get that quart down. It wasn't, yeah. It wasn't terrible. It was kind of like a nice switch, to be honest.
Yeah.
From lemonade every so often, but.
I love it. Okay, Charlotte just asked, is this safe for somebody who's on a no salt diet? I can't remember if I read something in here about that or not, Charlotte.
Yeah, I say for any questions like that, you just need to get the book.
I would definitely do it. Get the book and read it, because much like using the oils, you got to feel secure in your own decision, no matter what. But I would say get that, read through it. I also got...
I think you could do the laxative tea every
sure.
day if you wanted to, instead of the salt.
Yeah. And even if you only did 2 teaspoons of salt every 3 days, I think that would be considered a low sodium diet, because I think most people use a lot more salt.
Because you're not going to have any salt intake from anything else.
And sea salt is different than your normal table salt.
Right.
and so they're not even really the same thing. So there's a lot of
Yes.
there.
Right. So, Charlotte, are you advised not to use sea salt or like Himalayan salt? Because I know that there's a lot of beneficial nutrients and minerals in that. If that's the case, maybe different. We'll see what she shares here. Salt is salt. Okay, very good. Very good. So all I can say is you wouldn't be consuming salt in any of the rest of your diet for those days. So it would probably be lower than when you're eating food, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So very good. Okay. So I interrupted your day.
Okay.
I actually interrupted it. I'm sorry.
We're up to like 6:30 a.m.
But I think after something moves in the morning, I think that's a good time. You can start with the lemonade then. And I'm usually hungry or, ready for something. And, when we started, Staley's got this really nice industrial juicer thing. And, I was doing like entire lemons, peel and everything. And it's kind of a pain to clean. So, if you're going to do that, like, yeah, we want to do like a dozen or more lemons at a time, fill a pitcher in the fridge. Well, apparently, when I read the book, that's all wrong. Don't do any of that. Because when you juice a lemon, first of all, you don't want the pulp and things like that. You just want the juice. Because what you're doing is you're shutting down your digestive system or the normal digestive process. Because apparently, your body uses like about 25% of the energy that you use is for digestion. So once you kind of shut down that process, it kind of relieves the load on your body. And suddenly that energy that was having to go into digestion can now go
that's so interesting that you're saying that, because I remember Skyla, she was PMing me at questions about the juicing, and I was like, well, I don't see why not, but that makes total sense because you're getting the pulp in there. I didn't even think about that. Duh.
The other thing,
he's a researcher.
Yeah. Well, the other thing with the lemon juice, there's a lot of enzymes in there in the juice.
Yeah.
And those are only good for about 10 minutes after you cut into your lemon, which means that, from the time you cut into it, you kind of want to consume that probably within 10 minutes. And so instead of the big industrial juicer, I went to Walmart, and this is what I got.
That's mine.
Yeah.
This was like, I don't know, $6 or something.
Yeah.
And so I would just cut a lemon in half, put one in, squeeze it. And what I would do after a while is I would just get 2 glasses out, set them on the counter. I'd put my 2 tablespoons. Are those the big ones?
Yeah. Yeah, the big ones are the tablespoons.
Okay. 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup I would measure into there. It's supposed to be 1/10 of a teaspoon, the smaller one, of the cayenne pepper. Ours has kind of a little shaker, and so I kind of tried to measure it. We don't
shake,
really have
shake,
a
shake.
teaspoon, so I would do 2 shakes, and that was about 1/10. And then I would just squeeze 1 lemon into one, and one into, and then the other half into the other one. Then I kind of put them together and squish them, get a few more drops out of it. And when I measured it, that came out to be about 2 tablespoons. So if you're actually looking to do this to lose weight, you can cut back on the maple syrup. But ideally, you'd mix 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of lemon, 1/10 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper with 10 ounces of water. And I've got 8 ounce glasses. So I would usually do glasses of lemonade at a time, and then I fill up my glass 1 or 2 more times and drink that as well, just water. Also, if I didn't know better, I would think that the guy who wrote the book is a Young Living distributor.
He is.
Is he really? Okay.
Yes.
Everything he talks about is like, oh yeah, I've heard that before in other searches.
Yeah.
And so he did say it was okay if you wanted to use essential oils, lemon essential oil. So I would often put that in too, or if I thought, maybe my lemon was a little bit smaller, But when I bought the lemon, I would always use the Young Living fruit and veggie wash, just rinse them all off there. I know one of the places that I bought organic lemons, they actually put a sticker on every single lemon. And so I would cut the sticker off.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
I barely ever even washed my lemons. I'm just going to confess that right here.
Well, I did that. But,
I especially made him watch that when he was juicing the entire thing.
Yeah, right.
but anyway, they recommend that you drink 6 to 12 glasses of lemonade every day, and you can drink as much as you want to. So in some ways, I really kind of liked it because, a lot of times you don't think about, what am I going to eat today? What am I going to make for the kids? It's like, I'm just going to worry about me. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's very simple. And, pretty soon I had it down. So it's like, okay, it takes me like all of 2 minutes to, do and squeeze a lemon and a couple of shakes. And we've got a Berkey water filter, so we would just always do that. And after a while, I think he was even talking about hydrogized water. So I started using our hydrogizer and filling that with Berkey water and then running that. So I had it all down. So it's like, okay, I press the button on there, and then I put the maple syrup in, everything. And then the last thing I do is the lemon.
He's a systems guy, let me tell you.
It's all about the process. But I would drink anywhere from, probably 12 to 15 or more glasses of lemonade every day. And then I probably drank another 8 or 10 glasses of water every day.
Wow.
So,
he drank a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I did like 6 or 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
I'll just say, for a long time I was tracking my food intake. Normal for me. I'm a decent sized guy who works out, and I would consume about 3,500 calories a day. So I started doing the math on this, and really the maple syrup actually has it's about 110, 120 calories for a glass of lemonade. And so if you're doing 10 of those or 12, you're getting about 1,400 calories, which is probably less than what most people are getting. A lemon, you're only really getting about 10 calories out of a lemon, so pretty minuscule there, and nothing from the cayenne pepper. So all in all, I figured I was only going from about 3,500 calories down to more like 1,500 calories or 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. And I was drinking a lot of lemonade. So I think maybe only, maybe about day 2, I started getting, I was hungry and I just go drink some more lemonade. And it's like, you drink 3 or 4 glasses and, that fills you right up and then you're good to go again. But I never felt, like energy deprived or anything like that. There was always plenty of energy and calories there, I guess.
Yeah.
And I would say the biggest thing I noticed with Brian, typically in the afternoon, he has a pretty sluggish period where he really wants to take a nap just because he can. And there was no napping going on.
I don't think I took a nap ever.
And you haven't.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was really astonishing.
I agree. I found that I wanted to go to bed early on purpose so that the days would pass faster.
Yes.
But then I was also waking up at like 5:30 in the morning, which is not usual for me.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a good energy factor.
So, Carolee, walk us through kind of what a typical day looked like for you.
Well, for me, I was one, I knew I had weight that I wanted to lose, so I cut the maple syrup in half. And I also alternated between maple syrup and coconut nectar, which I got on Amazon. It was organic coconut nectar. I joined Heather Brock's cleanse group, and she and John talked a lot about in there about how coconut nectar, you're getting the same minerals and vitamins in it, but it's lower glycemic than maple syrup. So I just got a gallon. And it was pretty tasty. I mean, it was really good. But I cut 2 2 tablespoons down to 1 per glass. And I typically drank 6 to 8 glasses a day. And that kept me full. Like I didn't really start having pangs of hunger until the very end.
Okay.
So, but my days were just filled with all my normal stuff. I was still cooking. In fact, I was more intentional about cooking for my family in healthier ways because that was the stuff that I was starting to crave after not eating for so long. And so I was cooking more than I had been all summer, which was interesting to me.
Wow.
I don't know. It's like I wanted to just cook, which was weird.
Wow.
But there were times that our family would go out to eat. It's just some of our local places. And, you know, whenever those smells of like our favorite pizza place here in town, of the wings and the nachos and the pizza that was, you know, all laying in front of me, I just took that time and just really embraced the smells and just was grateful for them. You know, just I was intentionally trying to be really grateful for them instead of begrudging the fact that my family was eating in front of me. So I think those were really important processes for me to go through because it made me realize I don't have to eat it, and I was fine. And now whenever we go to those places, I totally they don't even appeal to me, which I know that's further in another question, but
that's so fascinating though that there were certainly some ties broken for me.
Yes.
As well. That I was happy to let go of, but shocked, frankly.
Yeah.
I didn't know how intertwined it was until I let go. I think for me, you know, I was kind of just winging it at first, but I felt such a massive rush of energy that even though I was doing it kind of wrong, I was still reaping benefits, which is kind of shocking. So I'm actually really excited to do it again because now that we know kind of how to tweak it to make it more effective, I can't wait. And I'm also very confident that I'll be able to blow past the 10-day mark without any trouble and maybe reap the benefits of going longer. During the time that I did my cleanse, we had the rally, which meant that Young Living Corporate came to town, and that always includes a really nice dinner out with the local diamonds.
Oh.
And so, but I was in such a good space mentally. I'm like, yeah, we're going to one of my favorite fancy restaurants and y'all are going to sit down. And so on 3 occasions, I had to go out to business dinners and it was for business. So I didn't want to miss it. And I just sat there with my notebook and took notes while everybody ate. And I mean, it was kind of funny because the waiters would be like, are you sure? Can I get you anything? Like, can I get you a salad? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm actually.
Do you have any lemons? Can I suck on a lemon?
It's so interesting that they wanted to help me. And I'm like, I'm
no.
Okay, really?
Yeah,
I got my jug of stuff. I know it looks like toilet water, but it's really good. So, but I think once your head is in the right space, you can really go anywhere and do anything. So I know Brian helps with a Wednesday night church activity for our senior high kids, and they always serve pizza.
I would go pick up the pizza for everyone else and, have that smell in my car as I drive it to church.
It's the worst. Oh my goodness.
But
that pizza smell.
His co-facilitator told me Sunday, he's like, I couldn't get him to eat anything. I kept offering him stuff and he wouldn't do it. And it's just like, well, we're not trying to, show off or tempt anybody, but
right.
First week they're thinking like, oh, you're doing something special. All right. And then like the next week I'm still doing it. And they're like, how long have you been doing it? Like, you haven't eaten anything for like a week and
you're still standing?
I know.
Pretty crazy.
I had so many conversations like that.
Yeah. So just know that, I mean, if all of you are in Young Living, and I don't know everybody, we might have some guests here, but for those of us that are in Young Living, you've already chosen a weird path. So embrace that for what it is, and you're just taking it one step further. That's all.
Yeah.
So,
and it's temporary. And
exactly.
honestly, who cares what people think? Really?
Right. It's your fault. Own it.
That's right.
So, okay, very good. So let's move on. Really, you guys, I think, have probably got the gist of what the cleanse is about. I do recommend read this for yourself. There's even, I got like a $4 or $5 Audible version of the book that I listened to, and it's like 45 minutes long. So I got a lot of training that way as I was getting started, because I just listened to that over and over and over. But if you've got Audible on your phone, that's a really quick learn. So the fun part now, what are the effects that you felt throughout the cleanse? More importantly, now that all three of us are done and have been done, Carolee, I don't remember exactly when yours ended, but it's been a few weeks, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the most important thing that I'm excited to hear everybody share is, what are the effects that are still lingering, that are still with you, and would you do it again?
Oh, I'm so doing it again. Like, my goal is to do it at least 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is doing it right now, who she just passed the 10-day mark, and she was like, I feel so good. I want to do this every month, the first 10 days of every month. And so I don't know. It's just interesting to hear what different people, what your health goals are. For me, there was such an amazing breakthrough emotionally. There were some lies that I had been believing for 35 years, just something that happened with my sister when I was 5 years old, that was just totally just a typical sister flippant comment that she made that has affected me for 35 years in a way that was really putting barriers in my life that I couldn't move forward past. And I never really connected it to that conversation that night. And the Lord just brought that to mind. And it was amazing how much release came from that. I share more about that in my group. I kind of went into more depth about that, but emotionally, my husband told me that I was a lot nicer during it.
The kinder, gentler version of Carolee.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess he felt less threatened that I was going to kill him during that time. Now, there were times that I think my kids felt like I was going to eat one of them if I didn't, break the fast, but I never ate any of my children.
There are 6 of you. We can spare a couple.
Yes, that's right. So they all survived. But but just emotionally, there were things that, like, just dumb things that my husband would do. Glad he's not on this, because that would sound disrespectful. But he would just say stupid stuff, and I would be like, it would derail me. Instead of me just, like a normal person should have just been able to just let it roll off my back, it would upset me to the point of not talking to him for several days and just retreating and burying my head in the sand. Confrontation it still isn't something I love, but anytime we had conflict, I would just want to avoid it and walk away. But during it and since, I cannot believe, like, he'll say something stupid that would typically derail me for days, and I'll laugh it off, which is, guys, if y'all knew me, like the real me in home, we can all put on great makeup and be great on camera and on Facebook and everything, but there's just some things that would just really bother me that shouldn't have. And it just broke a lot of those patterns for me. I don't know. It was just emotionally, it just did something. And it was just amazing to me how much I realized food is so connected to your emotions, like so connected. And it still blows my mind. I have not had any cravings for any bread or sugar or anything like that since I stopped. And I started the day after Labor Day. I don't even know what day that was, but it was, and I went 27 days. So I don't know. Has it been 2 months since I stopped? It's getting close.
Yeah, probably
6 weeks, maybe. I don't know. But I have only like my cravings now. If like last week during my period, and I had been really bad the last month because I've been feeling so good about taking my Progestins Plus. Which, if you don't know what that is,
figure it out. Yeah,
find out. But anyway, it's very good for your hormones and balancing. But I've been feeling so good because I've been eating so clean ever since this that I guess I just kind of thought, or maybe I don't need that.
Right.
Yeah, I was wrong about that. So last week there were 2 days that I was like, just, and so one day I finished my workout and I was like, I just want to go eat something. Just what would be something that would just, and all these typical foods started going through my mind, like a cheeseburger or macaroni and cheese or pizza. And I pictured every single thing and nothing sounded good at all. Like it all repulsed me. And the thing that I finally settled on that sounded comforting and would soothe me was homemade vegetable soup.
Wow.
That's a miracle, you guys. Like if you knew my relationship with food and just how it has just been such a journey, like my entire life. That's all I crave. Like I only crave good, nutritious food. I don't want any, like there's nothing. I have not had one bad craving at all. And so anyway, and I gained some, like as far as weight loss, I lost 24 pounds.
Okay.
During the 27 days. And I gained naturally whenever I started eating again. I knew that I was going to gain I knew I'd gain some of it back. I didn't know how, but I knew that I was going to eat super clean. And so I wasn't worried about it because I knew it would eventually come off. Sure. And it took about a week, 10 days, something like that, for it to finally go back down. And while I haven't lost anything since then, the fact that I have fluctuated a couple, because I found out that eggs actually make me gain weight. They must inflame, like there's something that must give me some inflammation that causes me to retain water. And so it's been interesting to be able to just have been off all of that and then to be able to figure out, oh, so eggs don't like, I like them, but my body doesn't like them. And so I just am not eating eggs. I'm not eating much meat, but so while I haven't gained any weight back, I have continued to lose inches. And while I'm not losing pounds on the scale, I'm still losing inches. And I can tell my clothes are fitting different. And so,
wow,
that's awesome. It's been amazing. And somebody saw me last night at church that I haven't seen her in several months. She's been out of town quite a bit. And she was like, she texted me today and she said, I had to take a double take because you looked so good. And she said you were glowing and you just had a different countenance about you. And so I just thought that's so interesting that somebody else is seeing that, that has walked life with me. So, and my husband he's watching, and like he definitely has a lot of health things that he needs to address physically, and food is definitely something that he struggles with, and weight. And so, but he's been watching. Like I don't bug him at all that he should do it, but he can't help but notice changes in me and how I respond to him. And
that was Brian for sure, because Brian is probably even more health conscious about what he eats and certainly exercise levels than I am. So when he was seeing me have positive results and actually sticking to it, he's like, oh, there must be something to this.
Yes.
I've watched him run a lot of marathons. I've never once been tempted to join him in that.
No.
All right. So, do you want to share your results and the effect that you've seen?
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely do it again. And, weight loss may or may not be a goal of doing this, but the book suggests that women who are doing it may often lose about 1 pound a day, which I think aligns with what you had there. Mm-hmm. Guys, it could be as much as 2 pounds a day, which, there you go, guys.
I'm like, that's
really unfair.
Because we need to lose more typically. No.
But I did notice, like, once I think I started doing things the way I was supposed to, suddenly the weight was coming off really quickly. And, you know, once you get a little momentum going there, you know, suddenly it's like, oh, hey, I don't want to stop now. You know, like, oh, you know, what would 1 or 2 more days or, you know, another week do or something like that. But I think for me, I'll definitely do it again, probably, you know, after the first of the year, maybe. The author suggests he does it perhaps 5 times a year for at least 10 days at a time. And so I think sometimes it, you know, just trying to find, well, when's the best time to do it? Because maybe you don't want to start right before Thanksgiving or right before Christmas or something like that. If you know, you're just going to be in positions where it's just going to be hard or things like that. But I think after the first of the year, I'll probably do it again. I just like the idea of being able to kind of reset my body, and suddenly, you know, things just kind of work better after that. And it, you know, I feel like it suddenly makes me healthier. Like
I agree.
Level.
Yeah.
That, you know, is something I'm just kind of desiring. So I'm going to do it again for that reason.
Very cool. Yeah, and I would agree. I lasted 9 full days, and the 10th day was actually Sonia's birthday, and we went out for lunch. And they had butternut squash soup at this farm to table restaurant, and I'm like, I'm done. This is it. So I kind of came off that day, so I didn't quite get my full 10 days in, but I think I lost, I don't know, 9 or 10 pounds. Our scale may or may not have some issues. I don't trust it at all. After Brian got, I don't know if you were done or at the end, and he's telling me, you know, that he's losing weight faster because he had changed it up a little. I'm like, honey, our little, what's it, iFit scale or whatever, it's supposed to hook up to the Fitbit. I'm like, it's like flashing air a lot during the day. I don't know that it can be trusted. So he replaced the batteries, and the next day I got on it and I had lost like 33 pounds, and I'm like, oh yeah, but that was not true.
I gained 5.
So I think in all actuality, we probably just need a new scale. So here's the funny thing though about weight and the whole mental game. Literally, you guys, at this moment, I couldn't tell you what I weigh within 40 pounds. I don't really know. And honestly, I don't really care. I care about how my jeans fit. And I just think it's funny though that if you see one number on the scale, whether it's right or not, you suddenly feel a lot better about yourself or a lot worse about yourself. What if that number was wrong? Like, it's just goofy. So
yeah,
don't get hung up there.
I think weight is just kind of a side benefit of it. It wasn't my ultimate goal.
Yes, it was not my ultimate goal at all. And I think that's where a lot of people fail going into this, is because they go into it thinking of this as a diet, and it's not. Like, that's what I tell everybody, is don't go into it thinking that it's just a fast way to lose weight.
Correct.
There's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, I don't diet. I never have dieted in my entire life. I'll change habits and make different choices, but I'm not a fan of diets, because every single person that I have ever known that went on a declared diet gained twice back what they lost. And I just, mentally, you just feel like you're depriving yourself. And so you can't wait for that sucker to end so that you can go gorge. Like, I'd rather just pick a couple things up in my routine and make slow, gradual choices. So that's just me.
The author has a lot of, you know, great stories there. He's a physician, so he's, you know, prescribing this for a lot of his patients who come in with various diseases. So, you know, one of the real benefits of this is, you know, a lot of people, your body pH gets to be acidic based on what we're eating, sugar and things like that. And, you know, that's where disease can set in very easily. Well, this is, it makes your body more alkaline. And so it balances that out, it raises your pH, and suddenly a lot of diseases can't survive in that environment. And so that's the real benefit of doing this, and for me, while I don't necessarily think I have anything wrong with me, I like the idea of like, okay, well, I like this reset where I can, just bring my body's pH up and, just know that I'm healthier in that regard.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it has so much more of a long-lasting effect, which is
one of the questions somebody asked, how did we know when we were done? For me, I went into it with the intention, like I mentioned before, of 12 to 14 days. And so at day 13, I thought, oh, I've done really good. I'm ready to be done. Like, it was just a hard day. We had gone to that pizza place and all the smells and were overwhelming. And so I went to the store and I got all my oranges and the vegetables to make the soup the next day. And my intention was the next day I was going to break it. Well, that night I was scrolling Facebook and read somewhere that if you still have a white tongue or have any weird skin eruptions, then that's the worst time to stop. And I was like, I went to the mirror and still had a white tongue, still had kind of that metallic taste in my mouth, which that's something that happens when you start a fast, is a lot of toxins start coming out through your tongue, which is interesting. I want to know why. I never researched why that is, but you get a metallic taste in your mouth and you get a white tongue. And so I still was dealing with a white tongue, and I had this weird eruption like right here, and it was different than a zit. It was just like, it was really strange. And so I thought, and then I read something else about what to expect during a juice or water fast for 30 days. And it broke it down, like what you could expect from what your body was doing in the first 7 days, and then through day 10, and then through day 14. Did I ever send that to you, Skyla?
I don't think I've read that.
Oh, I need to email that to you.
Or the next one. Yes.
Yeah. It was so fascinating. After I read that, I was like, I don't want to miss out on what my body's doing, because I wanted what the benefits were that were going to come during those last 5-10 days. And so then day 27 came around, and it was, I started craving, like a few days before that, I started craving sauerkraut juice, like fermented, really, like for real fermented, not just the canned sauerkraut that you get from the store, but like the real fermented stuff. And beet kvass, which is a fermented drink, and just fermented everything. It was like my body just craved it. And so that's what I actually eased back in on, was the fermented juices instead of the orange juice, which is what he recommends in the book. But anyway, that's how I knew. I just knew, like day 27, even though I was planning on going 30 days, I just knew, and I don't know how to explain it other than just knowing, like being so in tune with what my body needed at that point, that I just had to stop. It was time for me to ease out. So.
And I have to say, on my last day, I went and bought a whole bunch of really, like a big variety of organic vegetables, and threw them in the Instant Pot.
Yes.
Some organic vegetable broth, and cooked those up. And I immediately took part of them out, and I put them in the Vitamixer, made this puree, which I called my adult baby food. But you guys, I stood over the Instant Pot and just smelled it, and it just smelled so amazing. And then I don't know how many cups of that stuff I ate, but it was just like straight up, Brussels sprouts and carrots and celery and
it's
kale.
the best thing you've ever put in your mouth.
It was amazing. And Brian just did his the other day, and I'm working down here in the basement. I came upstairs and I'm like, oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And still every week I've been making a pot of that vegetable soup just to eat on every day, because I knew I needed to be successful with this eating change for me, as I had to prepare, and I have to keep stuff in the fridge that's prepared that I can just grab and go. And so every week I'll just do that in my Instant Pot, and it's the best soup in the world. It's so good.
It is. So I'm sure, does anybody think this all just sounds crazy?
So
this is why I had to invite Kara Lee to join us tonight, because otherwise you would just think Brian and I were crazy, but we have a third party to validate the It's true. So
It's so worth it.
if you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask them or to type them in the chat box. I would just say, do it scared, but do it, because you need to experience what life is like on the other side. And it's remarkable. So the fact that all three of us are actually excited about doing it again should tell you something. Because there's no way I would embark on 10 days of torture and then tell you, oh yeah, I can't wait to do it again. I wouldn't do that. I'm a straight shooter. So trust us.
Here.
Yeah, there's something to this. Is there anything else that you guys want to add that we might have forgotten? The white tongue thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things Brian kept sitting at the bar like, is my tongue white? I'm like, yeah, totally white. Keep going, baby.
Yeah. I will say, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting the white tongue thing.
Oh. I'll say for me, 10 days is the recommended, like he recommends not going for any less than 10 days, because you can actually kind of harm your body more than help it if you break it off like after 3 days or 5 days or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't think for the first time people do it, I don't think 10 days is long enough to really get the deep benefits, like emotional benefits that really will come from it. If you are willing to go longer and really push yourself, I think after that, I think 10 days will be fine, but I'm definitely going to just listen to my body every time that I do it from now on and just see. But I know 10 days will be the minimum. But I'm encouraging any of my friends that are doing it to just really be open to your body and be open to pushing longer, because it's so worth it. So worth it.
Awesome. Well, you guys, that's a wrap for Thursday night. Thank you so much, Carolee, for being with us. Thank you for giving McDonald's a run for their money tonight.
It's been pretty empty in here.
Shutting the place down, huh? Oh, I love it.
Thanks for asking me. I love you, Skyla, and it's been fun to hang out with you tonight.
Likewise. And Brian, thank you for embarking on this with me together. And so you guys, I just want you to know that there's lots and lots of support. We're here to encourage you in every facet of your wellness journey. And this is just another way that we can kind of help take care of our bodies. So feel free to continue the conversation on the Thursday Night Live page. You're all welcome to join if you're not there yet. Every week there's a different topic, except next week, go be with your families. We're going to take Thanksgiving off, and then we will regroup. I think I might have a couple of open opportunity, otherwise known as undecided dates. But I will tell you on December 21st, I think I told everybody the wrong date last week, so I'm fixing it now. But December 21st, we're going to have Young Living Diamond from the Chicago area, Yvonne Litza, who is an absolute hoot. I don't know if you got to meet her in Australia, Carolee, but she and her husband Wayne were there, and they're so funny. But Yvonne's specialty is horses and animals. So if you or any of your friends or team members are particularly interested in learning about oils and wellness for pets, join us on December 21st. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. We got a couple more questions. Let's see. Jill Hegel, good question. What is recommended as far as ages are concerned? Like, how young could somebody be? I remember reading about a mother-daughter combo that did it together, and I want to say the daughter was 12, and I'm not an expert on that, so I would never ever force a child to do it. If a child wanted to do it, I don't believe it's going to harm them in any way. It might be tricky if they're in public school because I'm betting that would get some weird looks. So maybe a good Christmas vacation, summertime kind of a party. But yeah, I don't know. That might be something that we.
I think the book made reference to some young kids doing it.
Yeah.
Any age. They said, a lot of people may think they've got this very unique situation that they can't do it or something like that. But I think he said the only people that he knew of who could not do it were people who had organ transplants. And he said that this might cause some negative things there with, organ rejection for organ transplants. But that was the only.
Interesting. I don't remember reading that part. I must have skipped over that part. I should go read that book again.
Yeah, I may have to go read it again.
I'm going to sign off, you guys.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, everybody.
You're welcome.
Have an awesome evening. And Raylyn, I will just say to answer your question, it wasn't really a question, a comment, but literally the fact that I didn't have to cook, that it felt like it gave me 3 more hours to my day because I just knew what I was going to be consuming. So I didn't have to take out that time for meal prep or sitting down. I didn't always sit down at the table. Sometimes I would just be in the office sipping away on my lemonade. So let's see. Teresa said, what is a way to be able to take your lemonade to work? I work in a prison and am limited on what I can take in. Absolutely. And I certainly took, water bottles filled with the lemonade with me. I know that the ideal situation would be to drink it within 10 minutes to get all the enzymes. But there were times when I was going to be on the road and I would just fill up a bunch of jars and that was what I did. So do you have different recommendations for somebody that's working? And
yeah, I mean, if you can mix everything except for the lemon and just take the lemon and cut that up and.
I don't know. Could you take this with you into the prison? I don't know if you could or not.
Maybe not the knife. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, don't take a knife. But I'm guessing you could cut up a lemon and put it in a baggie or put it in a container. And no, it doesn't necessarily have to be in glass because we don't have any. You can add lemon essential oil if you wanted to, but you don't have to. So, yeah, good question. So, all right, guys, I think we'll sign off for now. Thank you immensely, everybody, for joining. Sorry, this one got a little bit longer than what we normally do, but great conversation, great discussion, and I hope we've inspired you to start. So keep us posted. If you dive in, we definitely want to know about it so we can cheer you on. All right? Good night, all.